Now, I will give you 7 strategies about how to collaborate in complex situations where there are multiple issues, and some of them may be distributive, contentious issues, how to create a lot of value, and then you will use distributive techniques to claim most of that value. Strategy number 1 is perspective taking. There's a self-assessment on Canvas for which I'm giving extra credit just so you actually spend a few minutes to take the self-assessment and see how much perspective taking can you do. Perspective taking is actually your ability to see the issues from the other party's perspective, even when you're angry or frustrated. It helps identify the possible trade-offs because if you can see where the other party is coming from, that gives you a chance to actually meet their needs. For instance, in this picture, both parties are fighting over, hey, this is a 6, no, it's a 9. And both parties think that they're 100% right. But if they can actually take some perspective from the other party's side, they will understand that actually both parties have a right to their own claim, that they are both right. So then understanding the other party actually has a valid reason, a rational reason, or sometimes an emotional reason to make whatever argument they're making, you will be more likely to give something to them for their claim. But if you feel like, I'm not going to try to understand why this party says 6 all the time, well, this is a clear 9, I'm not talking to you. I will go find somebody else. There's no way for you to understand where the other party is coming from. So perspective taking not only will help you understand where they're coming from, that will also create trust and some sort of a good business relationship and personal relationship with the other party, because they will think it was a very difficult situation for both of us, but this party actually helped clear this issue. They tried to understand from my perspective. They looked at the reports I have. They looked at the facts or the numbers, evidence I have, and they listened to me. They asked questions. So we figured out that actually we both have, look at this from different perspectives. We both had some right input. So this actually makes you very likable, and they would like to work with you in the long term because they think when there's a problem, this is how they approach, by collaborating, by trying to understand, by creatively trying to solve the problem. Please understand that perspective taking is a very cognitive, logical effort. You are putting effort to understand why the other party is fighting with you over this issue. It is not an emotional, empathetical situation. Perspective taking is not thinking, oh, they are so right, I need to give everything to them, I need to accommodate them. That's not what you're trying to do. If somebody is making them look so poor and needy and desperate, perspective taking doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to give you everything you want. That's compromising or accommodating. It is not based, that kind of giving or compromising is not based on underlying true interests. Perspective taking is not emotional empathy. It's a logical, cognitive approach to understanding why this party insists so much on saying this is a 6 or this is a 9. Why are they fighting so much over this? Really understanding, asking questions about the underlying rationale or the foundation of their argument, so that you can give a little, take a little, but it should be a mutual cognitive effort. Perspective taking will help you understand the underlying interests. Now, what are positions? What are interests? Position is the other party's offer or request on paper. I need to be at the space E. The entrepreneur Sands is telling you, I want to rent space E. It's the cheapest, it's shared space, it will be a great start to our small business. That's their position, okay? They want, for space issue, they want space E. That's the option they want. Now, what is the underlying interest? It's like the hidden part of an iceberg. You really have to ask them, probe it, to find out why they want this position. Why do you need Space E? Why are you fighting so much over this? What is the importance of Space E to you? And they may actually, if you really probe and ask questions as a chef, they may say, I need Space E because I'm scared of investing in a more expensive space until the business proves itself, that until we're successful. I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I do for a living. I invest in small businesses. And this is very important for me that I get the return of my investment. And unless the business proves, I want to spend as little on these extras as possible. Now you understand the underlying need, that this person is scared of investing huge amounts of their valuable accumulated, savings. That's their living. They're not the chef. They don't know how much they can trust you. Maybe they want to invest as little as possible. Now, for this interest, because this person is really cost conscious, you can actually offer them something else. You can say, you know what, I understand you don't want to take a lot of risk. So what about you give me the space I want so that I can work happily, do the best job that I can do, and help this business fly. But then you can maybe get more of the profits. The money we make for the first year, you can get 80% of it or 70% of it. But I need the space I want. So you're actually offering a counter position, a counter offer here, which is the exact opposite of Space E. But your offer meets the underlying interests, relieves that party's stress about losing money, putting lots of money into this. They will think, okay, maybe I can pay more rent, but because I'm going to get most of the profits, that will help me, reduce that rent burden on me. So for every possible interest, there will be more than one possible position to meet that interest. This person is interested in saving as much, investing as little as possible. You can do that by getting a very cheap rental or a more expensive rental, but covering some of that rental cost with the profit sharing. So this is very important to understand. If you really can understand the underlying interests, which are not very openly shared in negotiations, in conflict situations, if you ask questions and probe and really try to understand why this party is insisting on Space E, you can actually offer a different offer, a different position that will meet their interest, but also your interest. So strategy 2 became self-apparent. Ask questions about the other party's interests and priorities. Priorities are basically, which issue is more important to you, the space or the van? Because if you can figure out, remember from San Martin, if you can figure out one party cares more about the space and one party cares more about the van, you can say, hey, I really care about the van more. So if you give me the van I really want, I will give you a little bit for the location, the space you want. So understanding the underlying interests and priorities will come only through asking lots of questions. It opens up dialogue. People can lie about their bottom lines, their bottom, their alternatives, but they will not lie about their own interests and priorities because they want to get them. So this is your crucial tactic to create value. You will also need to reveal information about your own interests and priorities. That's very important. Not only asking questions and not sharing anything, because then they won't share information with you. But you will also share some important information. Hey, if you look into my priorities, I would say space is more important than that, right? You are sharing a piece of information that's important. Now, there's a rule about sharing information. Do not share all the most important information at once. Don't spill all the beans at once, because what if they don't share anything in return? You need to make it really reciprocal. You need shared a little bit information and expect them to share a little bit of information. Also, while sharing information, share information about interests and priorities, but never reveal your reservation point or button. We discussed this before. And don't assume that just because something is very obvious to you, they know it too. If it's important, say it over and over again. Repeat it, even at the expense of being boring or repetitive. Sometimes they really need to hear it again and again for it to really sink in. Okay, so share piece by piece, make it reciprocal, ask them for questions, share a little information, ask more questions. That's how you figure out all the underlying interests. How can we ask questions? Ask open-ended questions. In what way does it help you? How does it hurt you? When did that happen? Where do you think that happened? Who shared that information with you? Why is this the most important point for you? Ask questions that show concern and consultation. What do you think if we did this? What do you feel about this particular package if I gave you this, this, this? And once you ask these open-ended questions, be quiet and actually listen to them. Because many times we ask questions, but we're more interested in just making our point. Actually, don't speak, be quiet, listen. Give them time to think, to really elaborate. Do not ask yes or no questions. That does not open up dialogue. Is this what you want? Or are these the only terms you will accept? These are not real questions. They're not really geared towards understanding the other party. Actually, I will say some of these are loaded, tricky questions. Here's how I see this situation. Like this, this, this. Don't you agree? Actually, no, I don't agree. You're just trying to trap me. These will shut them off. These will not reveal that I'm really interested in understanding them so that I can create a deal that makes them happy too. Don't talk without giving them a chance to speak up either. Strategy number 3, add more negotiation issues. If you have only one thing that you're fighting over, it is a distributive negotiation. It will be fighting. Okay? Add more issues. The more issues, negotiable issues you add, the better it will be, because I will ask you to create package deals. Let me give you an example. I'm selling my iPhone 10 for $200. Now, this is a distributive negotiation. We will fight over price. Somebody will want to get more. Somebody will want to pay less. Versus, if I can add more issues to this, I'm selling my iPhone number 10. iPhone 10s wouldn't go for $200. Anyways, for $200. That's one issue, price. I also have accessories for extra $30. The accessories. Now, number 2, like issue number 2. I'm willing to get the payment in installments. Payment type, okay, installments versus front single payment. Okay, number 3. But I cannot hand the phone before Thanksgiving. So that's number 4, the timing of the exchange. Now, I created 4 issues, and this will help me turn this distributive, contentious situation into a collaborative, win-win integrative negotiation. How so? By asking them, which one is more important to you? Maybe the party who is interested in buying your iPhone can pay those $200, but cannot pay in installments. They may say, cannot pay at once. They want installments. They can say, you know what? I'm happy to pay $200 if you can make this like 4 installments. So I can pay you in 4 months, $50 each. Or they can say, perfect, I don't need it before Thanksgiving, but I can't pay $200. I'm happy to take the phone in December if we can reduce it to $180. So it will give you guys chance to offer give and take packages to each of you. Now that brings us to strategy number 4, log rolling. Do give and take based on the interests of two parties. I'll give you an example from the chef and entrepreneur negotiation. Martin cares more about the space. If Martin gets 75% point value storefront A and offer you in return to the Sands party, the van that Sands want, which is the Toyota 120 use, both parties will get 75 and 15 points for these two issues. So both parties are securing 90 points by giving the other party exactly what they want and creating 180 points just based on these two issues. So this is an example of give and take. This is an example of how both parties got exactly what they wanted out of this. It's a win-win. But these give and takes needs to be done after you understand the underlying interest of the other party, the different ranking of the issues. You need to understand where is the difference. I care a lot about this. I don't care a lot about this. I can give that to the other party if they give me what I really want. That's how you do the give and take based on real underlying interests. Strategy number 5, and we have 3 left here. Strategy number 5, make package deals. Many times negotiators talk about one critical issue. Think about a very frustrating conflict situation. You're fighting over this one thing that happened. You said this, you said this, you said this, you said this. You are like fighting, and it keeps escalating the situation. This is a very wrong approach to negotiating or conflict resolution. The correct approach is not to talk or fight over one single issue. Do not negotiate using single issue offers. Make package offers, package deals, particularly in very tricky and frustrated situations when people are angry and emotional, there's negativity. Go to package deals. By offering package deals, you can understand the other party's interest. And you don't have to fight over one tricky situation. A package deal is made like this. Hey, I can invest $25,000 if we use shared space E and get Toyota 120 used. Please observe, this is not a single issue offer. This is a 3-issue package offer. It includes your offer as a package in terms of the capital, the space, and the van. Now, let's think about, I'll give you an example of how do we understand the other party's interests by making package deals when they don't want to share information with us, they're angry at us, etc. Imagine the chef opens the negotiation with this first offer. I can give you number 1 in capital, number 1 option in space, number 1 option in van, and number 3 option in equipment. Obviously, this is not acceptable to the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur's response is, well, in capital, I want number 7 instead. In space, I can do numbers 5. In van, I can do number 5. I'm okay with equipment number 3. Even with this package exchange, now chef understood that capital is a distributive issue. That's really tricky. The entrepreneur wants the exact opposite. Also, the chef understands the equipment is a compatible issue. They're both this is sort of easy peasy. They both want the same thing. Or this is very little importance to the entrepreneur. Chef also understands space and van are negotiable. These are integrative issues. It's not completely contentious. They don't want exactly opposing interests, maybe. There's some leeway in discussing. So these are possibly integrative issues. So as you can see, without sharing details, by exchanging packages, parties can understand a lot about the issues at hand. Now, chef response. Well, number 7 is very difficult for me. That will push me outside of my negotiation zone. So I can do capital number 2. For space, I really have to have number 1. Space is incredibly important to me. I can't move from it because that's where I'm going to work. I'm going to cook. I'm going to spend all day. We really want the best space possible for this business. But I'm willing to move to number 2 in terms of van. Now, with this package offer, what does the entrepreneur understand about the chef's interests? Well, it shows the entrepreneur that this capital is a really, really contentious issue. They're moving between 1 or 2 or 7. Like they're at the exact opposing ends. This is the distributive issue. From this response, we understand space is more important to chef than the van because they didn't move in the space at all, but they did move a little bit for van. And entrepreneur knows that van is more important to them. So now the entrepreneur sees the lighting up. Hey, I care more about the van, but the chef cares more about the space. So let me maybe offer a give and take there. So as you can see, without sharing a lot of questions and information sharing, even in a very tricky and negative, very contentious situation, you can say, let's exchange some package deals. If I offer this, if I offer you this particular package, what's wrong with it? Tell me. What is it that you really hate about this? If you could change 1 thing or 2 things about this package, what would you change? Why? Right? Now, another wonderful, wonderful strategy is creating, before the negotiation, creating package deals that are of exact same value to you. Can you create 2 or 3 different package deals that would be exactly the same or very similar to you? So you would be equally willing to accept any of those offers? So you can actually offer 3 different packages to the other party and say, which one is better for you? Or 2 different packages. Which one of these deals better for you? And now I'm showing you examples. Let's look at the proposal 1A and 1B first. I can say, I can give you a deal which is 4222 or 2223. Which one do you like? Now, please observe, for Martin, each of these proposals carry equal value. Martin doesn't care if it's 1A or 1B. Martin collects equal value from both of these options. But for Sands, 1B is almost double. 1A is a very unacceptable deal. 1B makes a lot of sense. And please observe how much value they're creating just by Martin preparing 2 package deals, offering both at the same time, and Sands choosing the best one for them. It's a very simple strategy, offering multiple packages simultaneous, asking them to choose one. And look at the total value created. Suddenly from 230, the value jumps to 295. Let's look at the proposal 2A, 2B. Imagine Sands is offering to Martin either 2A, 4243, or 2B, 6253. As you can see, Sands collects equal points from each. So for Sands, there is no difference between 2A and 2B. But for Martin, there's a difference. In one, Martin collects 130, in the other is 180. So by choosing 2B, they are actually moving from 260 point joint value to 310 point resources. Look at how much bigger the value created. So again, if you prepare package deals in your planning document before you get into the negotiation, you can actually use them in the meeting. Or sometimes this happens. You talk, you create a lot of, information sharing, but it's also complicated, right? We talk so much. You can say, let's take a lunch break. Let's have lunch. Let's think a little bit. I will prepare based on what we discussed, I will prepare multiple packages that will work for me. You prepare multiple packages, 2, 3 packages that will work for you. And come back at like 3 p.m. with, we are both, full. We have our coffees, warm drinks, and with package deals that we can share with each other, right? This is a great strategy, I'm telling you. And the number 7 is creating contingency contracts. If the parties are having significant trouble coming to an agreement, you can actually make a deal that will be depending on the outcomes of the business. For instance, if the sales of our small business surpasses this amount in the first 6 months, so if it surpasses the sale amount of this particular, cutoff point, that we are successful, then I can give you this particular amount of profit split. Or another contingency contract offer. If you can bring in another chef, then I can give you that wonderful high traffic space. So basically, I'm offering to give something very valuable to the other party if they can secure something else for me. So it's contingent on whether they can deliver what they promised me. And if they cannot deliver, I'm not going to give it to them. Another example. If we can succeed in the small shared space at the end of year 1, I promise I will move us to this particular high traffic, large, fancy space. We can write it as a contract clause. So again, if the parties are really arguing head to head and cannot come to an agreement, they can say, you know what, if you are so sure that you are going to do a great job, you trust your wedding cake so much, the people will love it, and the word of mouth, the marketing will work, this and that, then prove me in the first 6 months that we will have a lot of sales, or prove me that we will get wonderful customer ratings. And then I promise to move, to the space you want. So this gives a chance to every party to do well on their own promises, and then move on the business agreement, business deal based on the outcomes. So I'm leaving you with these wonderful 7 bargaining strategies. I want you to try to use some of these bargaining strategies in your upcoming negotiation with ChatGPT. And I'm looking forward to reading your discussions about your experience.